So I just got done beating Act 3 of PoE 2, and I gotta tell you, if this is how Grinding Gear Games wants to get casual players into Path of Exile, they definitely went in the complete wrong direction. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the biggest issues that I find in the early access, but it's early access. I'm sure by the time the game comes out, there's gonna be changes. As people learn about the game, it's gonna get easier, but it definitely right now is some huge problems. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about it. Now let's talk about the one that I absolutely hate the most, and that is the fact that there's no phasing whatsoever, no travel skills. And it's not so much the travel skills, it's the fact that when I get surrounded by enemies, I can't roll out, right? Because of no phasing. And if it was PoE 1, I could just use a movement skill, you know, just flash out, whatever the case may be, and I will be okay. Now, I'm playing a Poison Ranger, which means that I am a glass cannon. I mean, the simplest of monsters just looks at me, and I die. Now, imagine when I get surrounded by like 20, 30, I mean 10, 15 monsters. It's GG, well played, and this is the campaign. I can't even imagine when I get to maps. It's gonna be absolutely crazy, but of course this can be fixed. I know a lot of other streamers have talked about this, and it's a very valid criticism, because let me tell you, the casual player, whenever they die like this, it's gonna get frustrating, it's gonna keep happening, and they're going to end up quitting the game, because the campaign for PoE 2 is extremely hard. Which brings me to my next point. The campaign is hard, but I do like it. I do like the difficulty because it makes you feel like a sense of an accomplishment once you beat certain bosses, certain acts. And you definitely need to craft. Now, some people might tell you that it's not hard, but I feel like those people are definitely disconnected from reality. You probably look at their game time and they got 3,000 hours, 5,000 hours, 10,000 hours in PoE 1, and sure, they understand the mechanics and they'll tell you that the game is easy. But once again, I'm sure we all want PoE 2 to succeed, and they're probably trying to catch some of the casual players that are, you know, I hate to say this, playing Diablo 4, and, you know, bring that a share of the market into PoE, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a business, they're trying to make money. And the campaign being this hard, it's gonna definitely put some people off. Again, it goes back to like the role situation, right? How many times do you think a casual player that can probably only play 5 to 10 hours a week is going to put up with that? I'm gonna tell you right now, it ain't a lot. Which brings me to my other point as well, when it comes to crafting. As of right now, the drop rates for all these crafts are extremely low. Maybe in the cruelty difficulty, it gets better, but it doesn't matter at that point, right? Because as of right now, since you start at level 1, it's extremely hard to get gear. It's extremely hard to actually improve your gear, especially when everything about the crafting is RNG, right? Like, yes, you can use some essences, and that guarantees at least a modifier, but you're not gonna find many of those, and chances of that giving you something good as well are not great, right? There was plenty of times where I got a piece of gear, I got a good modifier in there, and as soon as I tried to, you know, augment it or, you know, use a regal orb to turn it into a magic or rare item, the stuff that I got was just absolutely useless, and that pretty much meant that I couldn't use that piece of gear, right? And the frustrating part is that as soon as I used a Regal Orb, or as soon as I used an Exalt Orb and it didn't give me something that I wanted, I already knew that I was gonna have to go maybe 30, 40, an hour without finding another one. And that, of course, just feels bad. Again, for somebody like me, I'm a masochist, and all the people that enjoy PoE 1, I'm sure they're masochists too. And, you know, they'll put up with it. They'll grind for 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it takes just to get the one Regal or Exalt Orb, and they'll move on with their day. But once again, the casual player base ain't gonna do that. And again, I feel like the whole reason why PoE 2 exists is to catch some of that market share from the casual player base. And again, right now, it ain't looking too good. Now, that also brings me to my other point that was really just, it was really annoying, is the map size. The maps are insanely huge. I mean, we're talking about 20, 30, 40 minutes to go through the map. And if you die, all the monsters come back. Now, again, if you want to make the game hard, that would definitely do it, but it gets frustrating, especially when you die over and over and over and over again, especially when your crafting gear doesn't give you the results that you need to become more and more powerful, right? I mean, just imagine you're going through one of the acts, you die, you spawn once again, and you just keep dying. There's nothing you can really do about it. Again, the casual player base, they're not going to put up with that, right? They're not going to go and farm an area and kill bosses to get better stuff, because one, they don't know, right? Now, all of this stuff I definitely do feel like can be fixed fairly easy with increasing the drop rates, but I also feel like the campaign will get a lot easier as well whenever people start releasing like build guides and optimizing builds to where the campaign gets a little bit easier. But even with that, just the sheer size of the maps, I definitely feel like it's a nightmare for speedrunners. I definitely feel like the campaign, even after like people find some good builds, it's probably gonna take anywhere from 10-15 hours minimum, and I'm probably thinking of like the top 1% of players. That's how long it's gonna take, probably, right? Like, I definitely did not see people beating the campaign in like 2 or 3 hours like we do in PoE 1. And if you gotta tell people that every season you gotta do that campaign is gonna take 15-20 hours or more for the average player because of the difficulty, good luck. Not a lot of people are gonna return. So again, it goes back, right? If you're trying to catch that market share of casual players, you ain't gonna do it with that. So maybe down the line, builds get stronger, more crafting, and it's gonna be a lot easier. But they definitely need to do something about that, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if on Monday they tell me that there's a new season of PoE 1 coming out, I'm gonna go check that out, because it is definitely frustrating, some of the stuff that's happening with PoE 2. But overall, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I love the difficulty. I can't wait to go through the cruelty difficulty, which I'm imagining, we're gonna get better jobs, better stuff. And now that I kind of know everything that needs to happen from Act 1 to 3, at least for me, I feel like it's going to be a lot easier. But we're going to have to go and wait and see how it's going to go, right? Hopefully, GGG in a month or 2 months, we start seeing some changes. We start seeing some build guys coming online. Me, I'm not that smart. I'm definitely going to be following a guide every now and then. But, you never know. This whole poison build that I'm playing right here, I'm just winging it, you know what I mean? I'm an RF player in PoE 1. I follow Puck's builds to the T. I don't think about it. I just go and just map all day and kill monsters, right? We're gonna have to wait and see. But it definitely does feel a lot slower. Some people might not be into it, but overall, I will say I'm really enjoying PoE 2. There's just some minor nuisance that need to get fixed, and I feel like GGG is gonna deliver on those. But let me know if you're having fun. Let me know what you're playing. And like always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next. Usually I say episode, but I guess this time it's next video game. I don't know. Peace out. Boom.